I would say, okay, this is a probation reform bill that, there's a long history to this thing here. I'll say this invariably like this. One of my issues with, and I think we all see it to some form or extent there, is a lot of times we have out-of-state national groups that will come from different states and drop in model legislation, and people all complain about in these previous forms there, and left and right or whatever. And they say, and basically these national groups, they have a bunch of larger donors, and their whole mission is just to try to start rolling up states to push through legislation. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's bad, and sometimes it's something, it's a solution in search of a problem. This bill in particular, it's one of those weird bills where it's this California Reform Justice Group that backed by a variety of people, and then they're trying to make some weird alliances out there with some groups on the right, say, okay, we disagree on this issue, but where can we come together to say that we're bipartisan? So then they land in criminal justice reform. And that's where this nexus of this bill comes, is that trying to overhaul the probation systems in states and non-states. I don't necessarily besmirch this bill for the fact that I think it has been worked on for a variety of years and has been watered down to basically some education credits. But what I would say is this, is that when you talk to our local probation officers and new people in the Department of Corrections who are kind of separate entity a little bit there, no one sees the need for this bill. This is something our probation officers are already doing right now, is when they're trying to score someone out for probation credits, they already factor some of these things in. So then, the groups will say, well, if you're already doing it, why don't we just pass the law? And I just kind of push back there. It's like, would you just leave Iowa and go to a different state that has problems with the system then, right? I see no reason for us to codify what our local probation officers are currently doing here right now. I hear from at least twice a session on this particular issue and on these particular groups that come in, that ultimately, I guess it's one of those things that we're hopefully 2 weeks left in the session, and it's one of those things that, having dealt with this for so long, I even talked to a group about 3 weeks ago. I said, can you tell me where this bill would actually make an impact in Iowa, where our current correctional districts are getting this wrong? And they can't point to it. They'll just be like, well, we just think it's good policy to have. I'm like, well, move on to a different state there then. So I think it's one of those things in the last 2 weeks, and quite frankly, all session, we have a lot of other bigger issues to work on. I don't think, not that the bill, I think the bill's a nothing burger in the end, but it's just one of those things. I just have a problem propping up some of these national groups just so they can go back to their California. That's really where this thing comes from, is their California board of trustees, and say, hey, we made progress in Iowa this year by passing a bill on a practice that they're already doing. I have no interest in that, so.